Hello and welcome to a crossover scene for Mage and Werewolf. Today, Alicia is meeting Jericho at a diner for pancakes. And strangely enough, she has ordered quite a lot of pancakes.
Jericho at this time is looking at the huge coffee pot that they give you and that bronze jug thermostat type thing. He goes ahead and unscrews the top, places it aside. Goes ahead and takes the glass of ice that he ordered. Goes ahead and dumps quite a lot of the ice cubes into the pot. Steams a little bit, but overall it should be cooling in a matter of minutes. And Jericho takes his own small little coffee mug, puts a few more ice into that thing, sort of tastes it a little bit, winces, goes ahead and adds an extra ice cube to it, spins it around so it dissolves a little bit, and continues drinking.
Alicia will be going with apple juice. Apple juice. So, how are things going with your changing thing? You told me you were going to change something to do with mages. I didn't really understand it.
We're in public.
Yeah. But those guys are actually asleep. And nobody seems to want to sit at these tables.
I think that has something more to do with you than it does me.
Possibly.
Still, I appreciate some discretion. You can see that Jericho, for his part, looks much, well, not very, very much older, but it seems like he's aged quite a number of years. He's got more wrinkles on his face than you remember.
Is everything all right?
I did some work early this morning. In fact, I haven't slept yet. I might go back to the chantry and crash for a few. I was doing some undercover work up north at Mercy Hospital, actually. Read the news lately?
The stuff about the angel?
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm not really sure what to make of it, but...
Well, you know the people in the Bronx, right?
Yeah.
Looks like maybe a month or two ago, about the holiday season, one of their lot was a lot, I stress the word, a lot less discreet than he ought to be. He made a few moves, made the front page news, and ever since then, Mercy Hospital has been a place of a great many pilgrimages. Just very much a wellspring of faith, is all I can say. It's become the new Mecca. At least in New York, it's become the new Mecca.
Right. Well, that's a bit odd.
So, it went ahead and made a splash in the news again due to Chad Colin, I believe, or Rollin, I believe. I'd have to look at the newspaper again. Took his own life, put a gun to his head, shot himself because he wanted to make the angel come back again. I think that pretty much reminded myself and a few other people that there were still the mecca of Mercy Hospital to look into. So I went. I try to make my presence as small as possible, and what I found there is not only did I notice, and a few other people noticed, some of the Bronx people, anyways, but the the people over at Unity noticed as well, and they showed up. I think they were trying to recruit more people to their little community. I got some names. I found
What?
out a few more things about them. Where
What's
they
Unity?
you don't know Unity?
No.
Okay.
Is that to do with the Alpha and Omega people?
Yes. Um, Unity is the
You do
front-facing.
realize you do realize that both of those symbols are just Greek symbols that can be related to Christianity.
I, I know, Alicia. I know. But still, and yes.
Okay.
Now the AO is mostly a project on the other side of things. Unity happens to be the front-facing organization on this side of things. This side of the world, I should say.
Okay.
And Unity is that community that's funneling their members to the other side of the world, if you catch my drift.
That sounds bad.
It is. It is fairly bad. Well, my contacts up north in the Bronx have told me the thing on the other side of the world with all those field of roses, it's gotten a little bit worse. In fact, a few more field of roses have started to crop up. Mostly
That's really
around
not good.
what?
That's really not good.
Yeah. Mostly around religious structures, churches and the like. But yeah, I took the time. I walked over there, got a few names, made a few contacts. They know me as Jackson Baker, so there you go. Plan to follow up with them at one point or another, but here's the awkward thing. Those people, they're giving they're singing, right? They're singing and they're giving a part of themselves into the ether. They're giving a part of themselves into the ether, and this little part of themselves, it doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't dissipate. It's just freely floating for anybody to try and grab if they're really, really sly about it.
That's worrying. Because you don't want people to just start losing bits of themselves.
Mostly the primal element, but yes, I get that. I felt myself even getting torn away with a bit of my primal element. I didn't even realize I was doing it until I ended that song. Besides that, there's also a few other things that I've been worrying about. Um, One of our old bosses actually came back. Here's the thing. Over in my organization, a lot of us simply disappeared because they got moved over to different apartments. One of a few of our older bosses are coming back to us. People who really knew the craft, really knew about advertising and the like, and really knew a lot about too. What was that other guy? Really knew how to inspire people. One of them came back, and he seems to have an ugly bent about him. For some reason or another, he came back and he's not very interested in our department's well-being. He's much more interested in what he can generate from us, meaning that he's not concerned about how long our department goes on for. He's just very, very concerned about controlling us. He's a micromanager on the worst scale.
And he wasn't like that before.
Well, I don't know what he was like before. All I know is what he's like now.
Because I don't know. I mean, if that's what he's like anyway, then it's not a worry. But if it's new behavior, um, I don't really understand how it works. But someone was able to pretend to be someone else, so you might need to be careful.
Fair enough, fair enough. All I can say is, ever since a few weeks ago, I should say, more doors are being unlocked. More places of power are starting to gather more strength, and it's because of
Yeah, I
these.
noticed that.
Yeah, it's these old bosses, these old masters returning to us. I've seen it before. The door usually has a weave of it, a weave on it that's weaved of the primal element. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay. If you ever see a place of power with a weave on it, a weave of whatever um, primal element equivalent that your people have, that is probably a door that was locked, and it might have an old master inside of it.
Okay, I don't. I'm not sure I understand that, but yeah, seems
I'm gonna,
odd.
I'm gonna try to use terms that you would understand when you see it.
Well, I'll keep my eyes open.
Mm,
Hmm.
Alicia, hmm you
Yeah.
know how I'm upright, vertical, and ventilating, and everything's fine with me?
I guess. Apart from you needing more sleep.
Yeah, fair enough. This newest arrival, this new arrival from the old masters, he's he wants to subvert things. He wants to subvert what is in the world. He doesn't want to destroy. He may want to destroy it. He may want to do a lot of things, but he sets himself up as the oligarchy or the hierarchy. He wants to rule. He wants to control, and he wants to make sure that we get subverted. He wants to compromise our own motives and our own emotions, our own thought patterns. And believe me, he can do it if he really puts his mind to. And he will put his mind to it. Which is why I'm very, very concerned. He's
Yeah,
a
that
madman.
sounds dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, it's one thing everyone working towards the same goal. It's another thing when people start messing with other people's feelings.
It's it's a little bit like that, yes. More than that, he wants to. Okay, what makes Alicia Alicia?
It's complicated.
Okay.
But feelings are a part of that. But they're not the whole of it. And memories are a part of it, but they're not the whole of it. I don't know. Like I said, it's complicated.
It is complicated. There's something inside you that incorporates all of these things, all these thoughts, feelings, emotions, experiences, perspectives, perceptions, and the like. It's all these things bundled into one little part of you. And what this man wants to do is he wants to take that piece of you, subvert it, turn it on its side, and work for him.
He needs to be stopped.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He definitely needs to be stopped. Uh, he
Are
needs
you
to be
sure he's
stopped.
not connected to these Unity people?
He might be much more dangerous, but he is in no way affiliated. He's a new arrival to the scene.
Okay, I'm just thinking because their name is Unity, and it's if he's trying to make people kind of fit into his thing, that's kind of a unifying thing, and they're killing a lot of people to use their energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Oh,
kind of like taking other people's, well, who and what they are, and using it. So I just wondered if they could be connected.
and at it, the old masters, they're coming back from a long, long radio silence. Um, a year or so ago, we started exploring this. We started exploring Manhattan, New York, and the like, because a lot of our people simply went missing, and some of these old masters are our missing compatriots.
But it seems like the one that you're talking about probably should have stayed missing.
Definitely would have preferred that one. In any case, the reason I sort of bring this up is um, there are places of power that we need to protect that are unprotected at the very moment.
Yes, we need to do that.
How is you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and slide along that conversation for a little bit. Uh, how have you been doing lately?
Well, I had a very interesting evening last night.
Hmm.
Um, there's this guy who has just come into town, and apparently he's my father.
Um, what do you mean by apparently?
Well, he says he is. We need to kind of double check it, but
Mhm.
I don't know why anyone would say they were if they weren't.
I didn't realize that you and your father were estranged.
Well, my mum, my mum died when I was very small, and I never knew who my father was. And then he just shows up and says that he didn't know I existed until very recently.
Okay. So, how do you feel about this?
I don't know. I don't know what to feel. I mean, everyone kind of wants their parents to just kind of show up and everything be okay, and he didn't. And now, with all the stuff that I've discovered about myself and my family and so forth, and now he shows up. It's I don't know what to think. I really don't.
Do-do-do. Okay. So, when you were growing up without him in your life, did you ever want your father to come back and solve everything?
Of course, like I said, kind of everyone did. Everyone would want that to happen, and then I mean, it's good that he's here, but I feel like
The expectation is not matching up to your perception right now.
well, not really, because you know what you expect when you're 6 is completely different to what you expect when you're a bit older and you know about how things are in the world.
That doesn't change the fact that you probably held on to that expectation for a good long while about what would happen if your father did return.
That's true.
Did
It seems like you spend so many years kind of wishing for a family, and then he shows up. I don't know, kind of after I've found one, if you get what I mean.
No, I understand. In the 21st century, your friends are your family. That's
Well, that plus
that's a
that.
fact. You have you found yourself in a wonderful little community that appreciates you, that respects you, that loves and adores you. You found friends that will probably stay with you through thick and thin, almost certainly till certain death. And all of those expectations, all those wants and that needs that you had as a little girl, they're all being met right now. And they were fulfilled when you walked into that community and not when he came back into your life. So now you're wrestling with the expectations of how wonderful it would be if your father did return with what you have right now, which is good, which satisfies you better than probably if your father did come back before then.
Yeah, kind of.
But not
I
exactly.
mean, I mean, I wouldn't say that the community as a whole necessarily does a great deal of respecting, but yeah, mostly. And obviously, I've got Donald and Keegan.
Are you afraid that things will change?
A bit, but
How
things
are you
always
afraid that
change.
things will change?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know hardly anything about him.
Did he give you a reason why you couldn't be around?
Well, kind of two different reasons, but yes.
What were they?
Well, at first he didn't know that I existed. Um, and then once he did find out, he had to. Well, it's not exactly. It's. Let's just say that the probably the easiest comparison to make is if he had to finish his sentence in jail.
Hmm.
Not exactly the same, but yeah.
No, no, no. I get it. I get it. Your father did not know that you had been born by your mother. He committed some sort of crime. He went to prison, and probably in prison he did learn of you.
Yeah.
So,
The jailers, for lack of a better term, told him.
fair dues. It's important to be informed about that kind of thing. Even if you are incarcerated, there's always the chance of you getting out on parole or you finishing out your sentencing and wanting to return to your normal life, and your child would be a part of that life, assumedly. So, your father ends his sentencing. He walks out. Did this occur recently, or like five or so odd years along the road? And when did he get
Less
out?
than a week ago.
Ah, so less than a week ago, he finishes out his sentencing, and he knows that he has a daughter somewhere, and the first thing he does is try to get in contact with you.
Yeah, he sent me 20 birthday cards.
Hmm. Uh, well, it seems as if that man wants to reconnect with you. Seems that he might be earnest about it too.
Yeah,
Do you want him in your life?
I think so. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure what to think. It's all a bit
Meh.
sudden.
Do you know what type of man your father is?
He's kind of like me, if that's what you mean.
No, no, I mean, well, what type of man is he? Is he a good man? Is he a rash man? Is he aggressive? Does he want things out of life? Is he stupid? What type of man is he?
It's hard to tell. He doesn't seem to be stupid. No, he doesn't. He seems like a decent person, but it can be hard to tell sometimes. Especially if people want you to like them.
Hmm. Did he tell you why he was convicted?
Not entirely. We we discussed it sort of, um, but not the details because it's been a long time, and the place where he was, it can really change people. So I don't know. I kind of I don't want to judge him by like one big mistake.
Well,
But at the
you're not.
same time, part of me wants to know.
Do yourself a favor. If this man is your father, and if this man really wants to be a part of your life, he's going to have to come clean about a lot of things. He has to explain why he was absent for most of your life. In fact, the entirety of your childhood and your young adulthood, including this very recent change that you've made. He'll have to come clean about that. That's not something that he can hide from you. He doesn't get to hide that from you.
No, no, he wasn't hiding it. He asked me if I wanted to know, and I said quite honestly that I'm not sure if I want to know, or not sure if I want to know yet. I mean, I
So,
do want to know, but I'm not sure if I want to get to know him first, or whether that would help me get to know him, if you see what I mean.
no, I understand. Alicia, you're trying to look in the good of him before asking what he did to send him into prison. That's good. That really is good. You tend to give people more chances than they ought to. But if this is something that wants to be very, very close to you in your life, you have to ask him a hard question. You have to ask him to explain himself.
Yeah, and I will. I'm just not sure if I want to know yet. I know I want to know, and I know he'll have to explain it sooner or later.
Okay, fair enough. Table that for a while. Table that for a while. In any case, how do you plan to get to know your father? Do you plan to just hang out with him? Do you plan on, I don't know, having little father-daughter sessions? What?
Um, well, first he needs to get permission to kind of stay in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important to deal with first. And then we need to do, well, not exactly a DNA test, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't see any reason why someone would lie about that, but it's possible. And and then I don't know. Like I said, it only really happened last night. I'm still trying to work a lot of it out.
I can't say I've ever been in your position, Alicia. I can't say that I know anybody who's been in your position. I guess the only thing I can do is stand here, try to offer you some support, maybe some good advice. Don't look at me like that. Don't be concerned. It'll be all right.
She's going to reach out and give Jericho's hand a little bit of a squeeze, as much to comfort her as him.
Squeeze back. I'm sure that everything will be fine and nothing bad will happen. I'm sure of it. I got a sixth sense about these things.
She'll smile. Thanks. I wish I could be sure.
Well, even if you're not secure in your own confidence, I'm secure in your own confidence. So believe in me, believing in you.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just there's like a whole part of my life that I can't really tell him until I know whether I can trust him with it. And how do I know if I can trust him with it until I do trust him with it? And how do I get to know him if I've got these great big secrets? Even though the most obvious and biggest one is kind of a secret that we both have, so it's not really an issue. But I mean, I can't talk about my second home, so to speak.
To be honest, I'm not even concerned about that second home. Whoever was stationed up there hasn't been in much contact with me, other than just being a few civvies.
Yeah, but we need to sort that place out security-wise. I mean, we've got some protections there, but it's not nearly enough. And then, and I've got to help make them better at the park. And and then there's the storms on the horizon.
Yeah, there is a storm on the horizon. There are bandits outside, burglars, and the like. And the only thing we can do right now is look to our places of power and see about securing them, battering down the hatches, as it were.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that could happen if a storm does come?
Um, it could eat all the spirits and suck up all the power and end up really huge.
And then it would just sort of snowball into the next big thing, gathering more stuff.
Yeah.
I can see that. I could definitely see that.
I don't know if that's what it would do, but we don't really want to wait and see.
Nah, nah, definitely don't wait and see with that kind of nonsense. Right. Jericho's gonna go into his pocket, flip open his phone, look at a few messages there, flip them back down, check the time with himself, put the phone back into his pocket. I've got a few hours left until I'm taken away onto my shift over at the coroner's office.
Come with me
Where are we going?
over to Gramercy.
Okay. Let me go ahead and Jericho goes into his wallet, places about a $10 bill, a $5 bill, some chains. Goes ahead and lifts one of the dishes and places it under there. Goes ahead and takes one more piece of toast and starts to get out of his seat.
And Alicia and Jericho will head back towards her apartment. And when they get there, she's going to light the lavender candle because lavender smells nice and makes people sleepy. And and hopefully they will end up curled up on the bed.
Nope.
Nope.
You can try. Jericho notices that you're lighting up the lavender candle, and he hasn't taken off his coat yet. He's right at the threshold of your uh room, your bedroom, and he's gonna do this. I can't. I gotta go. I don't have that much time.
I thought you said you had several hours before you had to go back to work.
I have a few hours, and I don't know what you have planned here, but I don't have the energy for it.
Sleep.
I don't have time for sleep. Alicia, come over.
And she's going to come over and she's going to give Jericho a big hug because she is more than a little bit worried about him because he is looking rather worn out.
Uh, Jericho's gonna go ahead and lift up Alicia's head. Go ahead and give it a dot kiss on the forehead, and Alicia will probably notice that. Jericho, at least his facade, at least his visage, has gotten much, much more youth to it, much more color into the skin. His skin is a lot less wrinkly. He's got a lot brighter eyes to him. Um, the various weaknesses that you saw in his form is starting to straighten up, as if something that he had done to himself, some hex had reverted itself.
And she's going to kiss him, and he can probably feel the concern in the gesture as well as the affection.
I'll call you when I get out, okay?
Okay. You really need to take better care of yourself.
You and Jade keep telling me that.
Doesn't make us wrong.
Mm. Jericho goes ahead and starts walking out. Before he does, he goes ahead and palms the gifts that were given only a week ago that are still in its box. The little coffee filter and maker set. And he says, when I get back, we can bust this open and we can have a time of it.
Okay.
One thing before I leave, that old master, that hierarchy, that oligarchy, whatever his name was, he usually comes with plenty of shadowy hands that travel along the ground, that travel up ceilings. If you ever see shadows that look like hands that try to grab you, they are a threat. Be careful.
Hop straight into the Umbra. Check.
Gotcha. Don't think he can't follow you, though. He can. He could definitely follow you there.
Well, I think that we might be rather more evenly matched if I know that I can use greenhouse form.
Possibly, possibly. Talk to you later, Alicia. And
Okay, but be careful, especially if he's messing with people's heads.
maybe not messing with people's heads, but definitely looking at power sources and looking at them with very greedy eyes.
I'll pass the warnings along if you don't mind.
That's why I pass it to you. Jericho goes ahead and grabs the doorknob to the front door, opens it, sneaks his way inside with just one small little wave of his hand before disappearing utterly.